I think the biggest highlight for me would be winning gold at the Commonwealth Games last summer. It was a home game, so it was in Birmingham, so lots of my friends and family were there, and the atmosphere was incredible. Squash doesn't tend to, be in the limelight that much, so a lot of my friends were watching on BBC and stuff, and just like the exposure that I think it gave squash was really cool, and so that was definitely a highlight for me. I'm Georgina Kennedy and I'm a professional squash player from London.
Brilliant. Squash, take us back to the start then.
Yeah, so I started playing squash when I was about 9 years old. Before that I did like loads of sports. I was a runner, played tennis as well, but I just fell in love with squash when I was quite young, so committed to that quite early on. Started doing tournaments, and then it led me to college in America, which was one of the best experiences that I had, and I would recommend it to anyone. And then graduated from America, from my uni in America, and then joined the professional tour.
How did you get from here to uni in America then?
Yeah, so I was at the World Championships in Poland, I think, and then I got scouted from a few of the Ivy League universities. Squash is very big on the East Coast in America, so I got scouted for the Ivy League universities, and ended up choosing to go to Harvard, which was amazing. Absolutely loved it. A lot of hard work it was, but it was a great balance of like sport and academic. So really thankful for the opportunity.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of hard work. Now, what did you study at Harvard?
I did psychology and a secondary in economics.
And are you using your degree now?
So I actually came back and did a master's in health psychology when I came back. So that was kind of like keeping me going on the side, because there's a lot of time in the day when you're a professional athlete. So I wanted to keep the brain cells firing. It was definitely useful for my master's. But now I'm just focusing on squash.
Talking about squash, what does a week look like then as a professional athlete in squash?
Yeah, so I think it's quite intense based on what I've seen from other sports. I think we may tend to be on the, overtraining kind of zone. I train like 2 times a day, 6 times a week, and that will involve, a couple hours on court in the morning, and then maybe another court session and a fitness session. So I perhaps do train on the more intense side. I like to get the fitness sessions in, but it's a lot of on-court stuff, so it's just trying to keep the body healthy for as long as possible.
Absolutely. How did the college or being a student athlete set you up to play now professionally?
Yeah, really well. I mean, there's a big debate actually about it, whether would going on tour at 18 years old be more beneficial than spending 4 years at university where you're not competing on the professional circuit, and kind of weighing up what would be better. And for me personally, I'm currently number 10 in the world, and I don't think I would be, even though I'd have had longer on the tour if I went straight away, I don't think I'd have had the discipline or the character that it takes to kind of knuckle down and really put in the hard work if I didn't go to America. It teaches you so much about, time management, how to balance your schedule, what your real priorities are, because, if you're really there, the facilities are there, it's all there lined up for you. It's just, then it's all down to you, how you approach it, how you balance everything. So I think it really set me up well for professional life.
Now, talking about being 10th in the world, it's an amazing achievement. Any other highlights from your career so far?
I think the biggest highlight for me would be winning gold at the Commonwealth Games last summer. It was a home game, so it was in Birmingham, so lots of my friends and family were there, and the atmosphere was incredible. Squash doesn't tend to, be in the limelight that much, so a lot of my friends were watching on BBC and stuff, and just like the exposure that I think it gave squash was really cool, and so that was definitely a highlight for me.
Amazing. And talking about exposure of squash, what's the trajectory for squash? Where do you see the sport going? Is it growing?
Yeah, I mean, sadly it's still not an Olympic sport, so I think for it to really get that exposure that it needs to get into the Olympics, but sadly I'm not sure why it's just not an Olympic sport at this stage. So hopefully in the future it will be, but for now, I mean, the PSA World Tour is growing. It's a great role model for other sports, because there's equal money for the men and the women, which obviously isn't that common. So I'm really lucky to be a part of that, and you can obviously make a good living out of it if you reach the top end, so that's good. But I think it's like growing it at a grassroots level, because if you're 100 in the world, it's really, really difficult to make ends meet. So hopefully if it can get into the Olympics one day, then it will, you know, more money will be invested. But until then, it's a bit of a tricky.
We'll see you there.
I might be a bit too, my body will be broken by then.
Squash is obviously a unique sport. How did you get into squash?
Yeah, just honestly by accident. So I was quite a good athlete when I was younger. So I was playing tennis down at my local club, the Park Langley Club, and one of my friends, who was 9 years old at the time, wanted to start squash, but she wouldn't start it without a friend. So her dad approached my parents and said, "Oh, would Gina play with Darcy?" And my parents were like, "Of course." So we started playing. She gave up after about 6 months, and I'm still here, yeah, at 25 years old, still playing. So.
Do you have any siblings that play the sport?
No, so both my parents are the least athletic people, and so is my brother. My brother tried all the sports, but unfortunately he, you know, was more musically inclined maybe. So yeah, it's just I'm the only sporty one in my family really.
Fab. And do you have any competitions lined up for the coming months?
Yeah, I've got the British Open actually in Birmingham, so I'm heading back to Birmingham, so I've got good memories there from the Commonwealth Games. So yeah, I've had a hectic schedule this year with tournaments, so I've got a nice like 4-week training block at the moment, so just enjoying being at home for a bit, getting some training in, and then yeah, heading back to Birmingham in a couple of weeks.
And hopefully some more gold medals.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Going back to that college piece just briefly, is there players that you're playing with against now that you studied against and played against when you were studying?
Yeah, so do you know, so squash is actually amazing for the amount of college squash athletes who are on the professional tour. So I think at the moment there's like 4 or 5 of us in the top 15 in the world who are on tour, and a lot of girls I went to Harvard with. So 2 of the top 15 in the world also went to Harvard. So yeah, I play against them. So it's weird because obviously they were my teammates for so long, and now we're rivals on the court. But it's great to see college squash, you know, being so used, and people are just, the trajectory is really good. Like you really can get to the top of your game by going there. So I think, especially in America, it's really encouraged. So hopefully more international students will go and recognise the opportunity, because it is an amazing one.
As well as obviously getting your education.
Exactly, because obviously at the end of the day, like we can get injured at any point, and then, you know, I knew I wanted to go to uni for that reason. Otherwise, it's too risky in my opinion to just stick to professional sport. But yeah.